Hello, hello. I'm excited to be here to talk to you about your service learning component of your Social Work 291 class. I'm Dawn Rhodes. I am the Service Learning Program Coordinator here at Mesa Community College, and I've been doing this for over 19 years, and I love it. I love seeing the impact that students like you make out in the community. During this orientation, we're going to talk about what service learning is, the benefits you can gain from service learning, as well as the unsexy yet necessary paperwork. So if you're ready to dive in, say yes, and let's go. So this first page, this is our department's website. There is a lot of valuable resources on this, so I really encourage you to come check it out and peruse it. These buckets do change often, so come see what's there, and as you can scroll. The first thing we're going to talk about and walk through is the paperwork. So you would find that on our forms page and under the student tab. For time's sake, I actually have it already loaded. Let's go all the way up to the top. So in the packet will be this first handout. This is about submitting your paperwork. Because we are virtual, things are a little bit different. So you just need to follow these few steps. And you're going to turn in 3 forms, the first 2 before you start your service and the last one when you're done with your service. So you're going to submit these forms to us by way of email, so at servicelearning@mesacc.edu. So that's servicelearning@mesacc.edu, or by way of fax at 480-844-3148. If you note the number 2 line that says what you should include in your subject line, please make sure you list your course name, your section number, and your instructor's last name. That way I make sure that it gets connected to the correct class. PDFs are really preferred because honestly JPEGs are just hard to read. So in this handout it actually gives you some resources if you don't have a scanner, some tools and tricks that you can actually use to create those as PDFs. There's our department email, and we also are using Cranium Cafe, so you can find us on Cranium Cafe. So what is service learning? Service learning is a teaching and learning method that combines meaningful service to community with academic instruction. What does that mean? Well, your instructor wants to break down your classroom walls, even your virtual classroom walls, and have you go out and serve tied to what she's teaching you. Because what's the best way most people learn? Hopefully you said by doing or hands-on. Yeah, by doing, hands-on. That's the way most people learn. And this course is actually a course competency. You're not even able to pass the class without completing 40 hours of service. Yet because it's a course competency, you have one of 2 ways to complete that. The first is if you work at a school agency, site, community partner. I'm going to use them interchangeably. Just know that that's the location that you're going to do your service at. So if you work at an agency and you do stuff related to what your instructor is teaching you in the course, you're going to work with her, do a work variance and whatever else paperwork and stuff that she needs, and you won't do that. However, sometimes my students who do work in capacities like that still end up deciding to do the service learning because they see some of the benefits that we'll gain that we'll talk about during this orientation. So if you don't work in a social work, type service job, then you're going to do service learning. So that's the definition. And some other focus areas is critical thinking and problem solving. Do you think it's important you know how to think critically and solve problems? Yeah, betcha. Values clarification. What do you value? What does society value? What issues are going on? Career exploration. This is your chance to explore. Do you really want to be a social worker? What kind of setting do you want to work in? Do you want to work with kids? Do you want to work with adults? Networking, the chance to meet people, because a lot of our students will end up, as a result of their service learning, with a full or part-time job. Could you be one of those? Yeah, possibly. Social and personal development. Oh, that's my favorite, because you as the individual usually change or get impacted and blessed because of the service you're doing, the people you meet, the experiences you have. And the last, civic and community engagement. MCC, we have 4 student learning outcomes, and community and civic engagement is one of those 4 learning outcomes. We want students to leave our institution knowing how to be an engaged and enlightened citizen. In fact, higher education was actually founded to create an engaged and enlightened citizen. So that's what service learning is not volunteerism. Yes, you're going to go out and serve and not be paid, yet it's tied back to your course assignments, because you don't get paid to do your math tests or English papers, do you? Nope. So your instructor has built this service learning component in to help improve and expand your learning. Here's our definition around civic and community engagement. Then this is our department's information. If we are on campus, this is where you would locate us at the 2 different campuses. Yet we're working remote this semester. So yeah, that's where you'd find us when we're in person. On the left side, or at least the left side of my screen, is all the steps of what needs to be turned in, when it needs to be turned in, and things like that. Your instructor has really outlined which week things need to happen in. Fingerprint clearance card. Some of the agencies do require you to have a fingerprint clearance card. So we do have some information on our website. If you need a resource to figure out how that, what you need to do, that's there. So steps, okay, so we're going to come up here to certificate. Since it's here, I'll mention it. One of the cool benefits that we make for your service learning is certificates that say where you served, how many hours you served, and my boss signs it. Great thing to have for your portfolio. Let's talk about, let's say, because you can use your service learning in real world, real life experience. And so say you're interviewing for a job and they say, tell us the time when you've worked with individuals and interacted with a diverse population. Awesome. Well, in my service learning, social work class, I got to do this, and this is where I served, and this is what I did. And in fact, here's a certificate that says, or that documents those hours and that experience. How cool is that? Oh, and if I don't mention this later, I'm going to say it now. Down below, we're going to talk about a contact log. You will want to retain a copy of that contact log because ASU has agreed to use some of your hours towards their requirements for entry in their program. So keep a copy of your contact log. That certificate also is great proof, yet they need that contact log with that evaluation. Just down below the certificates is this telephone protocol. It's really important when you call your sites that you let them know that you're an MCC student doing this for a course assignment. So, hi, this is Dawn. I am an MCC student in a social work class. I get to do 40 hours. Do you have an opportunity for me? Versus, hi, this is Dawn. I have to do 40 hours of service. Do you have an opportunity for me? Can you just get me in? Which one would you want to be on the receiving end of? The first one or the second one? Hopefully you said the first one. Yeah, so you want to let them know this is a part of your course curriculum. We've had students actually placed in the agency's coordinated community service program, so if you don't want that to be you, let them know it's part of a course. And leave your phone number. We've had students call and not leave their phone number, so then the agencies didn't have a ways to get back with them. Not all your agencies will you call. Some you'll email, some you'll submit forms. Yet if you do call, here's your guide. Why would you want to participate in service learning? I think these benefits really are just a snapshot of the opportunities you can gain from this experience. What you put into it is what you'll get out of it. So if you want it to be a boring, dumb, stupid assignment that you just get done, it could be just that. Or if you want it to be something exciting, that you incorporate what your instructor's teaching you and you're making a difference, it will be that. As you look through that list, which ones stand out to you? Which ones excite you? There are some really cool benefits. Again, that's just a snapshot. There's probably a ton more I could have listed. Do you want to extend this service learning that you're doing in your SWU291 to earn actually a 1 credit service learning, which requires you to do 50 hours of service. So if you do the 40 plus an additional 10, you can earn this 1 credit. There is additional paperwork. You register through our office, and the only way to count this is if you use your 40 hours towards this 1 credit, if you register while you're doing your service. Because service learning is not about doing a ton of hours or amassing of hours. It's really about the learning that occurs while you're doing your service. So if you're interested, talk to your instructor about this. Look at our department's website under the independent modules section for more information. Or even just reach out to us and we'll answer it, because it's pretty awesome. And as it shows, some of the reasons why students would want to do that 1 credit. Making a difference grants. We have funds not to pay you, yet to support your service learning project. Well, how cool would it be if you could say to your agency, if I had an extra $100, is there an activity or is there something I can do? How many of them would really turn you away on an extra $100 for their agency? Not too many. And our students have done some pretty cool things with those $100. So be creative. The key though is to apply early, not spend any funds until you've been approved. And it's not about just buying stuff to donate. It's really about helping you be better at your service. So for instance, I had a student working at the food bank. And one of the things they needed him to do was move the food from one side of the storage room to the other side. And originally he had turned in his grant to just buy food to donate. And I'm like, sorry, young man, that doesn't work. What are you doing at your service? Tell me a little bit more. And he told me that he was moving the food and that their dolly had just broke. And so it was really taking a long time. And so then it was limiting then his other experiences he was going to have. And I said, well, why don't you apply for a dolly? He's like, really? I could apply for a dolly? I said, well, yeah. Does it help you be better at your service? And he said, yeah, it would. So he applied for a dolly. He was funded and approved. And then he could whip through moving all those boxes and then get doing other activities. Pretty cool, right? So thank you. If you've ever lost anything at Mesa Community College and never claimed it, we have probably sold it or will sell it at our annual Lost and Found sale. Just joking aside, do you know where you go if you ever lose anything at the college? To the college police. You will check with them if they have it. If they ask for your phone number, I highly encourage you to leave it. So that is how we fund the Making a Difference grants. As I mentioned earlier, there are more awards and scholarships to you as students than there ever have been before. And this service learning experience will help you in enhancing your scholarship and resumes to be eligible for those awards. You'll want to track everything and be in the know. Look, find, check, research. There's a lot out there. This agency selection, we're going to go through and walk through the database. So if you forget what I say, you can come back to this and this should hopefully help you. Okay, so everything above here, I do not want you to submit to me. Those are for your information, your documents, whatnot. Don't return them back to me. This letter, actually, I don't even need either. You're going to fill in your name and leave it with the agency. I highly encourage you to read it because this is what your instructor wants you to gain from this experience. So as you read it, you're going to look through and leave it with them. That way they can get a hold of you or us or her if they have any questions or concerns. So again, all these forms and above, I don't need back. You're going to keep them for your records, or this letter you're going to submit to your agency supervisor. Now, still with me? Do a little stretch. Because we're going to jump into the forms you will turn into me. This first form is your confirmation form. This is like your contract between you and the agencies that's going to say what you did or what you're going to do and when you commit to being there. I need you to fill out all of the fields in these forms where it requests information. I need your student ID. I need your MEID. Let's talk about the primary, secondary, and third service learning courses. So that means if you have more than one course that incorporates service learning, as long as your service relates for the multiple classes, then you can combine them. Your primary class is usually the class with the most hours. So typically the SWU291 has the most hours because it requires 40 hours, right? So that would be your primary. Let's say you're also in Dory's SWU171 class, and that would be your secondary class. And if you had a third class, you would list it. So you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, I have 40 hours, and I forget if SW171 is 15 or 20 hours. Refer to your instructor syllabus for that. And then your other classes, so you're thinking, I have 40, and let's do 20 just for math's sake. So, oh my gosh, I have 60 hours to do this semester. No, as long as your service can relate to both courses, you just have to do the max of the highest classes hours, so 40 hours. So you'll list those courses. And again, make sure you list them so that way you're getting credit for all your courses. Then you're going to fill in your agency's information here. What, where you're serving at. You must serve an approved community partner. And we're going to talk about what and how you'll find them and where those are. And then you're going to set up your responsibilities. What are you going to do and when you commit to being there? Your responsibilities must first and foremost meet your course objective. Hint, read that letter above, and that will help you identify what those responsibilities should be. Second, something you're comfortable and able to do. And third, meets an agency need. So let's say you're helping, we'll go back to the food bank as an example, and you're doing the intake of the clients who are showing up to get their food boxes, and they have to fill out some forms, and there's certain, lines they need to be in and organized or whatnot. So let's say that's what your role is, and you're greeting people, and then all of a sudden the supervisor comes to you and says, Dawn, tomorrow all of the people who come for the first couple hours are all going to speak Spanish. So I need you to make sure you greet them properly and that all their forms are filled out correctly in Spanish. And you're like, I know like a few words in Spanish, not enough to like do all of that. So you would say, hey, I'm willing to be here and still do what I do, yet I need another staff member or a volunteer who speaks Spanish to really verify that those forms are correct. And everything, and answer any questions. So that's still negotiating, something meets the needs of your course, something you're comfortable and able to do, right? Yet also meets the need of an agency because that was their need right then, that they need help. So you'll want to negotiate those responsibilities. They can change over time. Because you get to know them, they get to know you, yet don't guarantee that they will change. I had a student at the end of her semester, it was a sociology student. She was like, oh my gosh, my service learning was so dumb. All I did was file, type, and answer phones. I'm like, oh really? Well, what did you agree to do? So I pull out her confirmation form, which I like to say is a contract between you and the agency. And I said, well, what did you agree to do? And what do you think it said on that form? Yep, file, type, and answer phones. So I said, if that's not what you wanted to do, why did you agree to that? She's like, well, I thought they were going to change my responsibilities. No, not if that was their need. So luckily I was able to then discuss with her how it related to her sociology class, the difference she made in the community. So she left a lot better. Yet know that those responsibilities may or may not change. And then setting up your class, or setting up your service. When are you going to be there? Really set this up as you would a class. It's really important. You're not really able to cram service learning. I know, I was a college student. I did papers late, or really actually me early in the morning. Yet you want to spread this out over time because that's really where the learning is going to occur. So let's take 40 hours over 10 weeks. Just easy math for me. How many hours a week is that? 4 hours a week. Is that doable if you spread it over that amount of time? Yeah. So I encourage you to set that up, whatever works with you and the agency. So you're finding your agency, you're setting up your responsibilities and the time that you're going to be with them. Some of them have specific times that they need service. Okay, so this agreement of conduct. Really, really, really important that you read this agreement of conduct and that you understand what it says. Because some of the things it says in there is to show up when you say you're going to show up. Do what you say you're going to do. It talks about attire because some don't allow hats, multiple piercings, printed material. Yet always avoid the 3 B's. That's no boobs, no butts, no bellies. You want to cover those up. Find out what is appropriate to wear. Some require closed-toed shoes. Some require, uniforms. Yet making sure you cover up those, those 3 B's. And I encourage you to, the first time you meet with them, dress to impress. If you are doing it in person, figure out what that is. Okay, so that's the agreement of conduct. You will read it. You will get your supervisor to sign off on it, and you will sign off saying you agree to this service. Let's say you communicate your service by way of email, and the supervisor, everything's exchanged. You can attach that final email that says, yes, we're taking Dawn, and this is when she's going to serve, and with my agency. And you can put C attached in that signature line. Yeah, I need to know that the agency has accepted you for placement, and that you've agreed to all of those things. So you sign, they sign, or attach their email. Those 2 signatures are required. This photo release is optional. If you want to be featured on our department's website, awesome. We would love to have you featured there, and we'd love to capture some of our student service learning experiences in their photos, so that this photo release is what we would need. Keep in mind who you capture in those photos, because if it's other people and we can distinguish who they are, we may need their photo release as well. So this confirmation form gets turned in before you start your service, along with this assumption of tongue-tied. So the confirmation form gets turned in along with this assumption of risk and release of liability. The first line you're going to put is your name. So you're going to fill in your name. The second line is going to be the agency you're serving at. I don't want to see MCC unless you are doing something with one of MCC's programs, and then it would say MCC in whichever program or department you're working with. As you can see, I've already filled in the 3rd and 4th line. Those are the very first day of the semester to the very last day of the semester. That's not when your hours are due. That's not when your assignment is due. I just put the whole semester for your sanity as well as my sanity. Because like I said, I've been doing this for over 19 years. Maybe I didn't say that. I've been doing this for a long time. And so it just has covered everything and been a lot easier. You are going to read this and at the end sign it. This one takes no one else's signature unless you're under 18, and then you have to have a parent or legal guardian sign it. It's really important that you know you are liable and responsible for things. One of the things that we ask is that you're never left alone with children or vulnerable populations. So you want to think safety for yourself as well as safety of those you're working with. So let's say Mrs. Smith says, hey Dawn, you're doing great with these kids. I'm going to leave you. I got to go run to the restroom. I'll be about 5 minutes. Are you cool to watch them? Thank you, Mrs. Smith. I really appreciate that you trust me with these kids. Yet I need you to stay here. I need you to get another staff member. I need you to hold it, or I need you to take the kids with you. Whatever it is, you just don't want to be left alone with children or vulnerable populations. And I get it. You could probably manage those kids, yet that's not what we are here for. We don't want to be held liable or responsible for them. Another thing to think safety for yourself as well as those you're working with. An example, say maybe you're working at the senior center and Grandma Gertrude says, hey, I'd like to play bingo with you. Can you take me out of my wheelchair and put me at the table and so I can play bingo? Oh, Grandma Gertrude, I would love to play bingo with you. Yet, I don't know if she has a broken hip or a back problem. Say, I'd love to play bingo with you. So I'm going to get a staff member who knows how to transport you correctly to get you into that chair. And then we can totally play bingo. So again, thinking safety for yourself as well as safety of those you're working with. Those 2 forms, confirmation form and assumption risk, get turned in before you start your service. So then you're going to be doing your service and you're going to be tracking. I'm going to come down to this last form. And tracking your hours, when you were there, what you did, and then total your hours. If you look at the bottom, how I would like you to do your math, please, for your math sanity as well as my math sanity, please put your hours in times this way. when you were there, and then a brief description. That really is just that. Briefly describing what you're going to do. Hopefully that will help you when you're doing some papers or your discussions or whatever to just kind of jog your memory. We don't want to see observation. We don't say observation, observation, observation. We don't want you just sitting back and of the agency, sitting watching what they're doing. They may have you do that the first time or two, and so that's absolutely fine to document that. Yet we don't want you to sit and observe. Service learning is not observation. However, service learning is observation. And what I mean by that is we want you observing what is going on. Like, how is the agency providing its service? How are the clients receiving those services? How is this agency funded? How is what my instructor teaching me in this course tying into what I'm doing? Those types of observation, critical thinking skills. Cool? Okay, so now that we've talked about the paperwork of what needs to happen, what service learning is, let's now talk about agencies, where you can serve. So I'm going to go to our department's website, and I already have it preloaded, yet where you would find it is here on the left side of the screen, the service sites database. You will come, and if you don't have your packet, all the instructions I'm going to walk through are here as well, yet you're going to come to this blue Access the Service Sites link. Everyone's going to sign in as a guest. You're going to sign in as a guest. You do not use your MEID or password. You will sign in as a guest. And then you're going to click OK. Because you must serve at one of our approved community partners. So here, this first tab, this agency partners, I'm going to click Perform Search Now. And this is just a laundry list of all of our approved community partners. So this might not be where you want to start. However, if you're not sure, maybe you just scroll through here and look at our active partners. So I'm not going to spend much time here. I'm going to go back to the Return to Search. School-based partners. Perform Search Now. Our schools in their placement processes are as different as you and I in their placement processes, so it's really important that you follow their process as well as any of the community partners. Don't circumvent them. If they require certain things, make sure you're fulfilling that and who you contact. So I know social workers are in school, so maybe you want to serve in a school because that's your area of interest. As it says here, some schools may have limited opportunities, and even by the point you contact them, they might not have an opportunity for you. So I'm just going to click on Mesa Public Schools, and it's going to give you all the instructions of what you need to do to serve there. So if you're going to do 60 hours or less in a given semester, you should not need a fingerprint clearance card. If you're going to do 61 or more, you would need a fingerprint clearance card. Both require some additional forms to be submitted for that experience. So that's those. If you want other schools, please read their headers. Please read their instructions. Like Chandler Schools, you submit your request to me. I send it off to them, and they get back to me with your assignment. And I'm not even able to do that without the IVP fingerprint clearance card. So that's the schools. I'm going to come back to Return Search. This by category, let's spend a little bit more time here. Perform Search Now. This is an application within the web, so it's really important that some of the features that you're used to might not be available. So what you're going to do is create a find and submit. So let's say you're not sure where to serve, and you want to serve maybe somewhere by where you live or by where you work. So I'm going to put in the zip code of the college of 85202, the zip code of the Southern and Dobson campus to be exact. Because this is an application within the web, I'm not able to just hit enter. I actually need to go to this yellow toolbar and click this Continue, and it will pull up all of the agencies that are in the zip code of 85202, which there are 12, so you can scroll through them. Maybe I want to search a different way, because as you see, there's this keywords tab. So let's say I'll create a find, and let's say my area of interest in my social work, like I want to end up working with the homeless population. Hopefully we can eradicate it at some point. So I'm going to click though on homelessness, and then do I hit enter? No, I come over here and I click continue. And it found there are 14 agencies who identified that they have some element of service or some work that they do around homelessness. So as you can see, there's, the name of the agency, who you contact, the description, the service opportunities, their requirements, their hours of operations, and things like that. Another way you can use this database, we're going to click Create Find, is maybe you want to search by a specific name. So I'm interested in serving at the Boys and Girls Club, so I'm going to type in boy, because sometimes in a data search, less is more. So again, I don't hit enter, I click continue, and then it pulls up anything with the word boy. Boys Thompson Arboretum? No, that's not what I want. Boys Hope, Girls Hope, what is that? That's cool. And because I left off on the hours tab, that's why it's showing. So description of agency. Oh, Boys and Girls Club. Yes. Okay. What do they have available to me? Okay. Disciplines. You can even search by putting an SW as the prefix, yet don't tie that as a hard and fast rule, because really that's me saying, oh, I know what this discipline does. I know what that agency does. I can see if that fits or not, right? Because as you see, the Boys and Girls Club doesn't have that SW prefix in it, yet it might have totally service related to it. So that's how you can use the database. So again, you must serve an approved community partner. Some other cool places to find service opportunities is our MCC Service. These are one-shot events that are available, and as you see, it's kind of slim right now, yet my agencies will be adding as they have needs there, and we'll continue to add those there. And let's say you just had extra time on your hands and wanted to volunteer, you could check out what's available on MCC Serves. If I didn't say this, because I don't think I did, if you want to serve at an agency or community partner that's not listed in our database, you can work to add it. Just know it can take anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 years to add them. So you have to decide if it's worth it to get them added. Okay, so that's there. And then the other new feature we added this semester is this virtual service opportunities. It's found under our events and opportunities on the left tab. I already opened it up. And so as we get opportunities, we will continue to update this. So I'm just going to click on the very first one. This is currently what a New Leaf has available. So going back to the Making a Difference grants, you can actually apply for funds to get the fabric, to sew those cloths and things like that. So that is an opportunity that is there. So that's virtual service opportunities. If you would like those, they're available to you. So let's recap. What you put into this experience is what you will get out of it. You find your service placement amongst our approved community partners. You reach out to them and see if they have an opportunity for you. You complete that confirmation form and get the signatures on it. You complete that assumption of risk. You turn that in, following those instructions on that packet before you start your service. You do your service, you're tracking it on that contact log. You submit that contact log at the end of your service, and then we give you a certificate that said where you served, how many hours you served, and it's signed by my boss. I hope you are excited about this opportunity, because it really is a chance for you to explore if you want to be a social worker while gaining some really valuable skills. I'm excited for you. I'm Dawn Rhodes. I am the Service Learning Program Coordinator here at Mesa Community College. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or any of our team, and hopefully they can assist you. Your instructor is a really valuable resource as well. And yeah, let's make it an amazing semester. So here's to making a difference in the community.